Oh, hi. I'm Kimberlee Walker, and this is the Reparations Show.
Don't want no spare change or handout. I see that everywhere I go. Want you to reach right in your conscience, baby, and give me everything I'm owed. I'm talking about them reparations, reparations. Oh, honey, give me all my money, money. Reparations, reparations. Give me everything you owe. Reparations. Reparations for all them years of frustrations. This is the freaking Reparations Show.
Hi, thanks for joining us tonight. Once again, I'm Kimberlee Walker, and I am thrilled to be your host for tonight's episode of the Reparations Show. So, Kevin R. Freed, one of the co-creators of the Reparations Show, asked me what my theme was for this evening. And I have to admit, I'm not that much of a theme person, but I dug deep. And I said, okay, what's coming up? What's coming up after living through this much on Earth, but namely the first half of 2020? We did it. We all survived it. So yay. What I decided I wanted to have as the theme is unjustified. Meaning, I no longer will justify my humanity, my words, my art, my joy, my pain, any of those kinds of things, right? So I feel like you get it. You're picking up what I'm putting down. But I wanted to just go old school for a second and just trot on over to our friends at Merriam-Webster to give you the definition of justify, and we'll get to justified. So, verb, to show an act, claim, statement to be just or right. That's one. Theology, it can mean to declare innocent or guiltless, to absolve or to acquit. And then in printing, there's a whole thing. You make a line of type, but this is the digital age. Who prints anything? Finally, though, I did want to touch on the legal definition of justify, which is to show a satisfactory reason or excuse for something done. Looking specifically at that definition, contemplate all of the things that have been justified that have negatively impacted certainly varying groups of people. But let's just dig in and look at Black folks for this moment. In 401 years of well-planned, well-orchestrated, legislated oppression and inequality and inequity, there have been all of these justifications for things that have happened over the centuries. And now, as so many people are shuffling all that off and shaking trifling statues and trifling evil structures of inequality, a lot of people are also looking to perhaps justify their place in the world. But while I'm not going to throw any shade, here, what I'm talking about is speaking without preamble. Oh, I'm even laughing. I didn't know I was doing that. I didn't mean to do that. Oh, well. Think of it like this. Your yes is a yes. Your no is a no. No is a complete sentence. Nah is a complete sentence. I don't want to is a complete thought right there. And that could be applicable to basically anything, to performing when you are grieving, to doing any kind of emotional labor uncompensated when somebody is asking you to pat them on the head and give them a cookie because they're trying really hard to get something right, and you might be walking around as an open wound. So personally, part of my mental health and emotional well-being has been to just eradicate that from my life. I will explain to people that I love and cherish. I will give context when necessary, but the justification for who I am, what I want, is over. Now, I am so excited to dig in and for you to see and hear the artists that are coming. I cannot wait. So without further ado, let me give you a little introduction to the first artist who is joining us this evening. Now, I asked people how would you want me to introduce you? Or are you satisfied with me saying a few nice words on your behalf? And some people were very particular, others were just completely loosey-goosey. But I'm going to read specifically some words occasionally so I can get it pitch perfect, as these wonderful people asked me to. Jazz Astwood is a Bronx-raised Afro-Latinx artist, teacher, and teaching artist. It has been 127 days since Breonna Taylor was murdered in her home by 3 police officers. Her murderers have not been arrested or charged. And now we are going to hear more of Jazz's words directly from Jazz herself.
It's a concept to me. The way a person is reduced to such simplicities. Race, gender, sex, creed, ethnicity, fragments of a whole never to be completed, for there is power in separation. Yes, it is divisive. Yet we fall for the false flags as gasoline is poured and they strike the match. Watching as all things ignite, they'll say we started this fight. Because history is written by the winners, and my history book is missing a few citations. There seem to be some misquotes, misspokes, miswrote, misheard, mislearned, mistakes. It's clear to me we've gotten a few things wrong with history. The disenfranchised haven't been sleeping or hiding. They have been and still are dying. Breonna Taylor, Layleen Polanco, Tony McDade, Elijah McClain, Dominique Alexander, modern day lynchings with people watching while murderers go scot-free, didn't realize we were reliving the Red Summer of 1919. 101 years later, the fight looks a little different, but it's still the same. Budget cuts, food deserts, mass incarceration, gentrification. And I look to the sky wondering, when will it all end? America, time to take the blinders off. You can't fix what you won't see, and what you're choosing not to see is me. Is that because you can see the others? Can you hear them? The footsteps of my ancestors and their ancestors before, of all the innocents slaughtered in the name of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We hold these truths to be self-evident that they were not the intended. Can you see their faces? To me, they are calm, loving, guiding. To you, they are angry, vengeful, and haunting. And you should be haunted by the atrocities this country has waged on people who look like me, darker than me, and won't take the accountability necessary to ensure the cycle of war is ended in this century. A famous immigrant's son wrote in a musical once, "History has its eyes on you." Which side of history will you be on? Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Just to check. How are you doing right now?
I'm good. I'm good. You know, I'm here. So yeah. And there's a little bit of a lag. I'm gonna be transparent right now. So sometimes you freeze and then I have to go.
Say something. Oh. What is one thing you are done justifying?
One thing I am done justifying, believe it or not, is my education.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of elitism, especially in the theater industry, that if you don't have an MFA, you all of a sudden are not worthy. And you know what? I'm kind of over that whole idea and that whole thing that if you didn't go to this program that puts you in thousands of dollars of debt, you all of a sudden don't have the qualifications to be a union member or to star in anything, or, it is what it is. So especially because if you have the experience and you've been doing the work, I think that a lot of times outweighs however, elitist you want to put an education stamp. So
say that. And no shade to some of our friends and colleagues who did plunge further into debt for those degrees, but is it still a pandemic?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it is.
Are any of us in rehearsals for shows that are about to be mounted like tomorrow?
No, not from what I saw.
Right. Yeah, I didn't think so either. But to each their own. Blessings, blessings, and peace and blessings. So one other question I have for you. What's bringing you joy or peace? Or don't choose and say both.
Something that is bringing me joy and peace right now is something really funny, but I am enjoying it. So it's going to be roller skating. I know. So, being a girl from the Bronx, like growing up as a Bronx 90s girl, like I remember going to the skate key like every other weekend, and just living my little dreams as like a 70s roller disco queen. And like, as an adult, I was just like, yo, I miss skating and I miss the freeness that it gave me. And I've just been doing that again. And it's just been, it's just a way for me to get back to me.
You are in Bronx. One of our next artists is in Brooklyn, and you and Janine have a shared love of roller skating. So seriously, I have to make sure to make that happen and to connect, because I don't think you guys got to meet each other at my birthday last year.
No.
We'll make it happen. It'll be all right. Jazz, thank you so much for sharing with us. That was dope. I love you. I appreciate you. Have a beautiful rest of your evening.
Yes, love you. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Now, I want to go ahead and introduce the two ladies who are going to appear in a video that you are about to see and enjoy. The first is the aforementioned Janine. This is Miss Janine Farmer, who is a military veteran from Memphis, Tennessee, who will always cherish her Southern accent and will rep the M forever. Now, she got her MFA in acting from the New School. Like I said, peace and blessings. And she said one thing that she's really experiencing during this pandemic is that the coronavirus is pushing her to learn new things. Now, Janine will appear along with Miss Ebony Marshall Oliver, who is a mom, actress, singer, storyteller, wife, friend, and sister. She's been in the business professionally for about 15 years, and I am so excited for you to see this video that they shot.
Hey y'all, Miss Janine here.
Who is this for again?
It's a pre-recorded cooking class for some elementary school kids.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let me reset. Hey y'all, Miss Janine here. Welcome back. So,
where are these kids from?
What do you mean, where are they from?
What area do they live in?
The school is in Chelsea.
Oh.
What?
Nothing.
Okay, I'm gonna try again. Hey!
If these kids live in Chelsea, New York City, don't you think saying, hey, y'all, is a bit too Southern for them? We be having the code switch for these folks.
Oh, okay. Hey, hi, you all. Miss Janine here. Today, I'll be showing you how to make an elevated fried bologna sandwich.
Wait a minute.
What?
You teaching them how to make fried bologna sandwiches?
It was all I had in the fridge.
I am shocked that you would do your people like this.
Seriously?
Fried bologna sandwiches are ours, Black people's comfort food.
I don't think.
From the moment our ancestors were kidnapped and brought to this country, bologna was our struggle meal.
That's not really a...
During every recession our people went through, we always had bologna in the refrigerator because that's all we could afford. It was the only lunch you carried to school for months, hell, for years. It was every black mama's staple, and she fried it just right with that slit in the middle. Don't let these white folks appropriate our bologna sandwiches too.
Bologna originated in Italy and was brought here by Italians and Germans.
But girl, you know ain't no Italians and Germans got that prepackaged bologna with the red stripe in their refrigerator, giving all our secrets away to these spoiled ass white kids. Then what we gonna have?
Jesus Christ. I'm not about to change this class. I'm going to talk the way I always talk. I don't care how much money these people have. I'm going to say, hey, y'all, and I'm going to make a fried bologna sandwich. I'll make an elevated turkey sandwich.
You know you ain't got no turkey in your refrigerator. Uh-huh.
I love that. I love that so much. And we are very, very fortunate to be joined by Janine Farmer. Janine, I love that video. I'm sitting here cracking up as loud as I did the first time that I watched it. That's
There's a little bit of a delay.
How are you this evening?
Oh, I'm good. I'm just chilling, watching this fantastic show. and also Jazz, yes, we need to go roller skating, girl, just so you know. We'll do it 6 feet apart. I have my mask on, you be on the other side of the park, I'll be on the other side of the park.
Work it out. I love that. Oh my goodness. Now, how many of these videos have you shot? Because I've seen a few. I saw the mini quiche, and as you know, I did a gluten-free version of the baked blueberry pancake, which was divine. But how many have you done?
So just for a little bit of backstory, I was working in an after-school program where when everything went down, the program went to virtual classes and pre-recorded classes for the kids. So I did 5 cooking shows, pre-recorded cooking shows for some kids. And so when you came to me with this, I was like, what am I gonna do? And I remember a friend of mine, when I was like, I'm gonna do an elevated bologna sandwich, my friend laughed at me, and I was like, well, you tripping about the elevated bologna sandwich. And so that thought just popped into my head. So I started doing some research. There's an article in The Root about bologna sandwiches being gentrified by white people. So I was like, let me just do this. And I asked my friend Ebony, and Ebony just has this beautiful way of acting that is just so honest and so real. And it's like, I'm gonna tell you what it is. So yeah.
That was fantastic. Thank you. And thank you, Ebony. Now, before you go on with the rest of your evening, Janine, I want to ask you these same 2 questions, and I'm going to ask everybody. What is something, or more than one thing perhaps, that you are done justifying?
I'm really done justifying my accent.
Okay.
As an artist, I feel like I'm always having to change it up for someone. And I feel like most of the people in casting who are thinking through their own white lens or looking through their own white lens aren't also thinking about communities of color and the fact that many people who are a part of these communities of color are also coming from the South due to the Great Migration. Those accents, those dialects still translate over. They're still a part of our culture, still a part of the way we talk. And so I'm just a little bit tired of that, which is why I'm gonna be like, hey, y'all, all the time.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And just one little thought. You know how sometimes you send emails that start, good people, Or
Good people.
hello, good people. I always hear it in your voice. I hear it with your accent, and I love it. Thank you. One other question. What's bringing you joy and or peace?
Well, I feel like you already know this because I've sent you some pictures, but I be about this design home life. That app, girl, I be like on some 5-star level trying to become like the next HGTV superstar on design home. Like I be at like 3-4 designs all day, 24 hours design home.
I had never heard of Design Home before you showed it to us on Zoom a couple times. And yeah, your creations, like, shoot, I'd hire you. You have
Thank
an
you.
amazing eye.
I
And you
appreciate
know
that.
this.
Yeah, I feel like you lied to me because real talk, it took me forever to paint. It took me 3 years to paint this wall. So
Okay, it may have taken you 3 years to paint the wall, but did you get the wall painted?
yes, my friends, my white presenting friends, Chelsea and Rebecca, came and painted this wall. Thank you. Thank you.
You know what? Sometimes you got to put them to work. Shanice, thank you so much for your video. Thank you to Ebony. I love that video, and it's on my hard drive. So if I ever need to smile, it's on my hard drive. Many thanks.
All right, love you.
All right. Love you too. Before I introduce our next artist, I just want to remind you wonderful people that if you are enjoying the show and if you want to ensure that the show continues to happen, donate. Give us some reparations. You can donate on Venmo to FRIGID NYC, and in the comments, put reparations, and that will ensure that we are able. Oh, see, there it is. See, you've got it on your screen right now in this beautiful turquoise-esque color. Yes, that's fantastic. So bear that in mind, and you can do that at any point throughout the show and even afterwards. Now, next up, we have our first gentleman of the evening. Actually, wait, hang on. Our only gentleman of the evening, other than one of the co-creators. So I'm going to see it in the chat. Y'all don't even know. I'm about to see something in the chat. But before we watch one more video, I want to just mention that Eric Walker is a hip hop and spoken word artist. He's a recording artist, a husband, a father, entrepreneur, culinary innovator, and truly one of the smartest people that I know. We are going to watch a video of something that Eric wrote, and then we will be
Forget my scattered thoughts on this page. It's just my heart's full of rage and shit. But I try to maintain as I'm raising my fist. October 27th, 1986. That's the year after MJ had dropped his first kicks. The second year that Ewing played ball for the Knicks. New federal drug laws got thrown up in the mix. We ain't stand a chance, and that's exactly what the play was. To paint us as the root of the problem so they could cage us. Kept pushing they dope and they narratives. They ask us where the parents is. A problem we ain't create but inherited. September 13th, 1994. 2 years after Rodney King asked, can we get along? 2 years before the Black Mamba made it to the league, they waged another war wearing suits with flag pins instead of fatigues. The 94 crime bill, just trying to out-tough Reagan. Fast forward 20 years, now addicts are worth saving. It's been a knee on our neck. Take a look at education. We make our way to your schools, you take a permanent vacation, and I still can't breathe. Remember Eric Garner? All I see is rotten apples if you can't correct your partner. Fuck Till. Remember Emmett Till? How we sitting still on an anti-lynching bill? They killed Dr. King because of his economic angles, and no disrespect to Jada, but I could give a fuck about your entanglement. It's almost August. We need justice now for Breonna Taylor. Fuck them cops, fuck the DA, fuck the governor, and the mayor. Another day, another brother or a mother to mourn. I'm gone. I'm out of patience and paper.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. I know we talked a little bit about that being emotional labor, and I don't doubt it at all. Thank you so much. Can we please bring
What's happening? What's happening? Thanks for having me.
It's happening. We have amazing digital things happening in the background. Hey, there he is. Thank you, Eric. That was hard hitting. That was years and years and years of history in 2 minutes. Thank you.
No doubt. I appreciate the opportunity.
Ooh, I think that I froze for a second. Did you hear everything I said?
No, I didn't. You're back though.
Okay. Dang it! Internet. We don't all have 2 internet connections at home. Kevin are free. What I said was, I know that you talked about that being taxing and being emotional labor. And I mean, I don't doubt it for a second, not just because I know you very well, but the fact that you were able to put decades, if not more than a century of history into 2 minutes of verbal art and indictment, that's a thrilling thing to see. So truly, thank you.
Yeah, it was a little rough. You know, I had to marinate in it for a little bit, and you know, just I wanted to bring something to the table that was, you know, it allow people to just kind of see it. You know, the days drag, but the time moves like that. You know, and it happened just like that.
Thank you. Now, I won't hold you too much longer, but I do want to ask you the questions that I've asked other folks so far. Well, no, that's a partial lie. I do have one other question for you. We'll get to those other 2.
Yeah.
I don't want to put words in my. Oh, am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Goodness gracious! I want. When you are writing and like. Is it? What's your would you mind talking about your process a little?
Yeah. So, what I try to do is everything that I write, I try to make sure that it's directly through my lens. There's a lot of voices, you know, a lot of people are making music, a lot of people are doing spoken word, and I just try to make sure that it's a unique, not necessarily just a unique delivery, but I want it to be 100% me. You know, I try to mute the outside influences, and I just look at what I'm dealing with at the time. And one thing I will say about my process is I'm a little old school with it. I write it all on paper. It's always going to be on paper. I can't be on my phone with it. And so I do my best to just sit down, marinate. You know, as you mentioned, I'm a chef by trade. And so I try to be a little creative. I put a little bit of this, I put a little bit of that, I let it simmer, I let it sear, you know, things of that nature. And then I just trust it. You know, I try not to go back and do too many rewrites.
Word. Thank you. Thank you. So before you go, another question. What are you done justifying?
So candidly, I tend not to justify anything because that's just not the type of person I am. I don't feel as though I should have to justify anything. You know, I am who I am. I see things the way that I see them, and I say what I mean. So I don't really justify things. But one thing I will say that I am done doing is connecting the dots for folks on how entrenched racism is in not just US history, but world history. And, you know, we live in the information age. So if somebody really wants to know something, they can get on the online, or they can go to the library. They can look up some Jane Elliott. They can go read some Ta-Nehisi Coates. Like, I'm done being a teacher. I'm not a teacher by trade. So that's one thing that I'm done doing. But, you know, justifying, that's not my bag. That's not how I get it. That's not how I get down. I am well steeped in the courage of my conviction. So if I said it, I meant it. Also,
thank you. That was a word right there.
And
I mean a word with capital letters. So before you go, what's bringing you joy? What's bringing you peace?
Well, I got a couple things. Obviously, I have a son, so I get to spend every day with him. I get to teach him new things. I'm watching him pick up different words, and he's starting to read a little bit. He's not even cool yet, like he's sharp. So I enjoy that. But I'm also trying to get a little green thumb right now. So I got a garden out back. I got the vegetables growing. I'm out there watering them every day, talking to them like they, all that. But I'm enjoying that, and I think I can see it being something that I do for a long time, because not only is it somewhat therapeutic, even though it can be a low key stressful, it's fruitful. I'm about to have a bunch of vegetables in here in a few months that I'm not gonna have to go to the store for, and I know what went into it, so I'm enjoying that a lot.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for being willing to talk with me. Thank you so much for your video and for your words. I appreciate you. Much love. I love you. And have a good rest of your evening.
You do the same.
Thank you. All right, friends at home. We have reached the point in the evening where we get to maybe the only regularly scheduled segment. So coming up to you next is the one and only Kevin R. Free. Do you know what the R is for? I know what the R is for. I don't know if he doesn't want people to know. I think it's a wonderful middle name. So Kevin Roderick Free is the co-creator of the Reparations Show. Let me say that correctly. Kevin R. Free is the co-creator of the Reparations Show. And I first met Kevin 7 or 8 years ago when he directed me in a couple short plays, and then he directed me in a longer play. We've collaborated a few times. He is an actor, writer, director, voiceover artist, all-around brilliant human being. And every now and then we bump into each other being, bad and bougie at Whole Foods. But speaking of the theme, not just of the evening, but of the show itself, this series, let's get into it. This is This Week in Reparations.
I don't think the segment's going to happen because she said we were bad and bougie at Whole Foods. So I'm done. Goodbye, everybody. That's not true. Okay, so I know that I said that in This Week in Reparations, we were going to hold people accountable and we were going to give them a score. But I've been thinking a lot. One of the great things about the Reparations Show is that it is about thoughtful people saying thoughtful things or being thoughtful when they do their things. And so I've been thinking about it. And so I just want to tell everybody, all 15 of you who watch the show every week, that there will not be grades for every person or organization that we feature on This Week in Reparations. Calm down. We're still going to talk shit. So today I just want to talk about a few things because it's been a really big week. The first thing I want to talk about, or first person, is C.T. Vivian. We lost him today, died of natural causes. He was 95 years old. He was beaten bloody by the sheriff on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, Alabama, when he was walking over to get people registered to vote. So I just wanted to mention that we lost that pioneer today. Second, let's talk about Lady Antebellum, that country band. Yes. Years ago, somebody said to me, their name is so racist. And of course, I was singing along to their song, so I wasn't thinking that they were racist. But then I started thinking about their name, Lady Antebellum. So antebellum is the period right before the Civil War, and a lady is a lady. So I never thought the name was racist. I just thought it didn't make any sense. Like, did somebody win a pageant before Civil War, and that was why they were called Lady Antebellum? Anyways, they decided they wanted to change their name because they realized that their name is racist. And so they decided to just go as Lady A. And then they became Lady A. But then the real Lady A in the Pacific Northwest, Lady A, there she is, 61 years old, has been singing for dozens of years in the Pacific Northwest. She's famous. She said to Lady Antebellum, no,
I'm Lady A. So then they had a conversation, probably like I'm having a conversation with my computer with a ring light. They talked to each other about sharing the name. And Lady A, the real Lady A, said, no, that's not an option. We're not sharing a name because I'm Lady A and you've already messed up my sales because I just released an album and people are trying to find me, but all they find is you, need you now, and hey bartender, and whatever else you sing. And Lady Antebellum said, okay, well, let's keep talking about it. And Lady A said, here's what we need to talk about. Give me some money and I will rebrand. So then Lady Antebellum, because I'm never going to call them Lady A, Lady Antebellum then sued Lady A for the name. And what they tried to say was it was because Lady A asked for $10 million. But Lady A, this is what Lady A asked for. She asked for $5 million so that she could rebrand, because it will cost money to rebrand, and another $5 million to go to organizations that support the movement for Black lives. So I'm going to keep you updated on what happens in this court case, because it's not cute, Lady Antebellum. Not cute at all. Next, I want to talk to you about Plantation Rum. They're changing their names, y'all. They're changing the name of the rum. Now, they apparently they started thinking about changing the name of the rum last year when a journalist named Osayi Endelin wrote an article about feeling a certain kind of way about drinking a delicious cocktail made with a rum called Plantation. So she called them and talked to them about it. And what they said was, well, we're a French company, so the different thing is different. But so what the French guy who runs Plantation Rum said is that they named it Plantation Rum because it was made on a farm and not in a plant like a lot of distilleries are. But they kept thinking about it. And now they are changing their name altogether. They are spending the money to rebrand, and they say that they're going to have a new name in the next 2 years. That will be difficult for them, but I say, okay, fine, change your name. Now let's talk about the Washington Redskins. The Washington Redskins. They are going to change their name. It's incredible that the systematic oppression and murder of indigenous people throughout the centuries did not get them to change their name, but the murder of George Floyd did. Wow. So fine, that's okay. They're going to change their names. And I think that some of the suggestions are the Washington Red Tails. But here's the thing that I'm thinking about this. I'm wondering if they could keep the name Redskins and then just give money to the indigenous people who are dying disproportionately of COVID-19, who have diabetes, who have hypertension because they don't have access to good food, to food that is good for them. How about keep the name Redskins, but then pay for it? How about that? And then you could still change the name to like Washington Capitalists. I don't know. Finally, I want to talk about the city of Asheville. In my home state of North Carolina, the City Council of Asheville just voted this week to pay reparations, to create industry, and to give money to Black communities of Asheville, North Carolina. Now, I grew up in North Carolina, so I'm kind of surprised that this happened, but I'm also not surprised that this happened because, you know, all the gays that I know who moved to North Carolina, or the liberals that moved to North Carolina, all moved to Asheville because we all know that's where we go. It's a good town on the western side of the state. So what is really great about the reparations in Asheville is that they are investing in the community. I was talking to a friend of mine today about all of these things, the Redskins changing their name and Lady Antebellum changing their names. And she said, you know, I don't want you to rename my syrup. I want you to defund the police. I don't want you to rename my rice or my rum. I want you to support my life as a Black human. I want to have generational wealth the way white people do. Now, it is true that I have 2 internet connections here in my house, but that is not because of generational wealth. I'm done justifying that. This ends this week in reparations. Kimberlee, come back out here.
Yeah. There were so many things, and then yes, the shade at the end, indeed. And I'm glad. Don't justify it. You have your 2 internet connections. That's beautiful.
Maybe
I actually do too. It's just one's for the phone and one's for the computers. But yeah.
See, so Black people are so shady.
We are. And there's
listen, I have to tell you, especially since you're frozen now.
Yeah, I just see. I'm trying to anticipate it. That's why I had my hand up like this. I said, just freeze like this. But I think am I back?
You're back. You freeze sometimes with a big smile, which is really, really great. That is
I tend to show all of my teeth when I smile. I'm one of those people. I'm trying to have like the Disney smile, which is just the upper row, but it doesn't. It seems fake because I've now spent years showing all of my teeth. Anyway.
Well, I'm glad that you know what the Disney smile is. Thank you for showing me because I had no idea.
Yeah, all uppers, no lowers. So Kevin, oh my gosh. No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to tell you thank you so much for hosting the show and allowing me to have this segment in the middle of the show. I'm enjoying all of your guests, and I just really am so proud of you in general. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for asking me to host back in June, and I love my people and I love you, and I'm very, very happy that you're here, that I'm here, that we're all here. And that's a great shirt, by the way. I meant to tell you earlier.
Oh, thank you.
It's my gay shirt. Yes.
I mean, they're all gay, but
I was like, just the one? Okay. So, of the things that you said, I mean, I'm trying to remember the order. I could have been writing them down, but it was riveting. So
thank you.
I will start in full earnestness. I was reading about, C.T. Vivian this morning and thinking about this. There's going to come a point at which all of the, I'll just say it for the sake of time, like the old guard or that one, there's like a set of folks that were here before any of us that are on the show tonight were alive. There were people that were doing the work when our parents, didn't even have us as twinkles in their eye, and so on and so forth. And as that generation continues to pass on, I'm thinking about the people that are here now that are on the ground, that are doing the work, the names that we don't necessarily know, people we might follow on Twitter and Instagram, but just, my gosh, the history. To have someone who at 95 years old passes of natural causes, but whose life was in danger at so many moments throughout the 1960s because he was trying to get people to vote.
Yeah.
Because he was just, oh my gosh.
And to think that the things that he nearly died for are being eroded now.
Absolutely.
All of the I decided not to talk about all of the voter laws that the Supreme Court upheld for the Trump administration.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really, I mean, when he died, and somebody had told me that he was on death watch, that he was pretty old and not feeling well. I knew that I started thinking a lot about how he worked so hard to get us to where we are, and we're not even there.
Right.
We're not even there yet. And so I am constantly thinking about, for me, what reparations would look like. I mean, for a life like his, a life well fought,
Yes.
So Yeah. CTV.
Have you? I'm sure that you've seen them because you have an outstanding online presence. I'm sure you've seen some of those memes and those photos. No, I said it in a shady way, but I was being serious. That you have black and white photos of protest signs 50 years ago, 55 years ago. And then they're next to sometimes black and white, but often in living color photos of people with protest signs today. And in what for a lot of people is a lifetime, for some it's more than their lifetime. Breonna Taylor, 26 years old, asleep at home. That it's taking so long for all of this, that there's still this much resistance. And I mean, I could talk at length for all of that, but just briefly, because I don't want to spend too much time talking about the trifling group known as Lady Antebellum. I can't name any of their songs, but I remember hearing about them and I said, well, that name is stupid. Yeah, I was like, that name's stupid. And to think, oh, well, we changed it because, we realized that for some people, especially Black people, it can be, racist and hurtful. To quote Amanda Seales, I don't know how the fuck you didn't know about it till now. They have said that they want to do the right thing. She's got this amazing video. I'll send it to you on Instagram. I love it. It's when she's telling people, like, don't call me to tell you what to read. She's standing on her trampoline and she literally says the words, don't call me to tell you what to read. I don't got the time. I'm on my trampoline. And I love it. And I've watched it 28 times probably.
I've heard of this video and I've not watched it.
I'll fix that.
Thank you.
So you're very welcome. But, it's almost, it's a parody. Like I can believe your name, yet there's a Black woman who is in the game, who's been in the game, who's a professional singer, and you want to take her name and then you're going to sue her?
Like, girl, who asked you to change your name? Ain't nobody asked you to change
backwards. Say it again.
I said, girl, ain't nobody asked you to change your name. Why are you changing your name?
It's so fantastically stupid, and it's so blindingly, whitely ignorant that I can't. You can use that if you like.
Yes, I think it would.
Right, and as far as the Washington Redskins becoming the capitalists or the red tails, do the work and serve that community who's, this derogatory term you've been profiting off of for however long. I don't watch the sports, but do something. All of this changing and rebranding, like Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima. It's like you said, defund the police. I didn't ask you to name an ice cream after me. I asked you to defund the police and to invest in education and youth programs and outreach and housing services. It's so simple, but people don't listen and it's exhausting. Anything else you'd like to say before we bring in our next guest?
No, I just want to see her.
Me too. And we already have in the backstage, but the people haven't. So, friends, coming to you from Louisville, Kentucky, although not originally, that's where she lives now, Michelle Tyreen Johnson is a playwright, radio producer, personality, diversity diva, and has the best timeline of anybody on Facebook. Fight me, it's true. I first met Michelle when I was in a play that she wrote that Kevin directed, and here we are years later. Welcome, Michelle!
Yay! That is true. That's how we all met. Yes. Okay, wait, I gotta get a picture of that. Okay, anyway. All right, I'm back.
All right. Oh.
Kimberlee, do you know how Michelle met me?
Maybe, but it's in the recesses of my mind. Remind me.
Twitter. He started following me, and then all of a sudden, I'm getting these direct messages with dirty pictures and stuff.
Whatever. Whatever.
Lies and propaganda.
And then I went, oh, he's gay.
So you met on the Twitter, and then so how did the directing
actually
Wickens in the Hood?
Actually, I was like, I have my play is in this festival. We won't talk which festival, other than to say that the seats fell down when I sat in them. We won't talk about.
Hmm.
We will not talk about that. We will not talk about people.
No.
Only because we don't have time will we not talk about people.
Mhm.
And I needed a director. I wanted a Black director. I wanted a good Black director. I couldn't find one. I got Kevin.
I think that feels like Michelle's way of kicking me out of this chat. That's fine. I have cats to snuggle with anyway. They
Okay.
wait for me.
Mwah.
All right.
Love y'all. Love
you.
y'all. Thank you, Kimberlee.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
your night.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. First off, how are you?
I'm good. It's Friday, so I'm tired. Shit. Negro
Yeah.
gotta work for her coin, you know?
Mhm. I can't always tell what day it is, but yeah. I mean, I know today's Friday because I froze. Am I back?
You froze pretty though.
Okay, I guess that's something. Thank you.
Yes.
Guess I wasn't making like a horrible face.
Yes.
Now, do you work at all this weekend, or are we going into your time?
I am. You are in my time. You are in my private, personal time. But the only person I will say that when you wrote me last Friday, I was in the studio. I'm an associate producer of a talk show that's on Fridays, and your message came while the show was on. But I'm a producer, so I wasn't on the air. But I busted out laughing so hard at the concept of who gets paid and who doesn't. That was so hilarious to me that I was laughing, and the two other white people in the room said, "What's so funny?" I said, "Nothing."
I love that. And yes, so for folks at home, remember, you can support the Reparations Show by providing us with some reparations. That beautiful aqua turquoise bar is going to appear. If you would like, see, there it is, wonderful. Patreon, or remember to make your payment to FRIGID New York, but to cite reparations in the comments, please. Yes, and what Michelle is referring to is something I'll remind you of shortly, that all artists of color, Black, Indigenous people of color who share their work, who share their time, who share themselves,
get cash money is what she's going to say.
are given a verbal thank you. Hashtag reparations. So, Michelle, you and I mean, we could talk about basically anything.
Yep.
I have a couple things in the back of my head, but one thing I'd love to know, do you have any responses to what Kevin shared about these companies, about these music groups, anything like that you want to share before we dig into some other stuff?
So let me just say, for the longest, I'm a little bit older than you, like, a year or two. And my entire life, I've heard about white guilt. And then a few years ago, I realized it's not white guilt. It's white irritation. White people are especially when we start talking the older that you get. White irritation, and that's what this is right now. So all these companies trying to rush to rebrand, make a statement, say some shit. It's because it's like white people hate to feel embarrassed. Like that's why when you get into a conversation with a white person who you don't know that well, their first thing isn't to talk about what was offensive, but how they're not racist. It's like nobody gives a fuck that you're not racist. That's not what we are talking about. Okay? If you accidentally step on my toe and I say ouch, we don't need to get in a discussion about, well, I didn't do that on purpose. Why are we having that conversation? I am screaming. I think I need to go to the emergency room. And that's why even the whole Black Lives Matters and the retort of, well, all lives matter. We ain't talking about our lives.
Right.
About our lives. I'm saying ouch. I'm saying ouch. I'm saying ouch. Can you get me a Band-Aid or shut up?
Oh my gosh. That's
Okay.
Mhm.
And so that's why all of this sudden stuff about rebrand. I mean, you know, my best friend and I were talking and having this conversation today. Literally everything that somebody is doing, even the really great stuff like the ask for reparations. Why is everybody acting like you could not have done that May 24th, which is the day before George Floyd was killed? May
Right.
1, 2019, 2010. There is not. Angie Mama's fat ass has been providing syrup since Moses was a baby. So why are you acting now like all of a sudden we recognize that Aunt Jemima is a stereotype? What was your first clue?
Right.
You know?
Exactly. Yes. There's this freaking the immediacy of it. It's like, so you're
Yeah. I mean, it's like
decades to address this.
And then leave Uncle Ben out of this, okay? Man has nieces and nephews, and he makes rice. Next, I mean, just stop taking random shit and changing it up. I mean, at this point, if that's what the brand is, you know, I mean, I'm not saying don't change it. I think every Confederate statue needs to come down. Personally,
Yes.
I mean, I agree with a lot of this. I just have actually the statements it's the statement. If I get, as a playwright, if I get a email from one more damn theater that has rejected my work, talking about how we stand for Black Lives Matters, okay?
Yes.
If you really stand for Black Lives Matters, then the only email I want from your ass is telling me when my play is going to be on your stage.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No.
Like, don't. Yeah. Oh, seriously.
You know,
who do you produce? Who do you hire?
Right.
Who's on your board? What outreach are you doing? This is meaningless. Like, don't show me this email full of white faces talking about Black Lives Matter, and then we're going to do better, and we're going to do it. Who have you hired? Maybe you need to resign and bring in somebody else.
Absolutely. But it's all because, again, white irritation, white annoyance at the thought of somebody going to call them out. Okay. And my thing is, like, in public radio, I'm in public radio, and there's all these Twitter things going on right now where people go, okay, let me spill the tea on what happened at my old radio station. Okay, tweet 1, tweet 2. I'm like, oh shit, this is a book. Okay. I mean, personally, what I would love to see to really, really, really fuck with white America is, you know, the true Black Day would be if everybody Black got on Twitter and did that for every place on their resume. Oh, let me tell you the top 5, the best top 5 things that happened at this place, at that place, at this place. If we all did that, we would shut it down.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Shut it down. You know?
Shut it down. Ooh.
I'm sorry. I get this, I'm sorry.
No apologies.
You know how I get, you know.
Yes, and I love how you get.
You know how I go,
God.
you know. But I mean, I'm making a joke of it, but I'm serious. It's just like, I feel like right now, Black Lives Matters is the Me Too movement, in the sense that we are now holding a mirror up to the people who thought they got away with something.
Yes. Yes. And there's a little bit of that bandwagon business too, because for people that have known what they could do, what they should do, to be anti-racist, to be allies, to be accomplices, however you want to label it, but still haven't, it's like, well, I guess it's safe now because this other company did it. And if Sephora is going to dedicate 15% of their shelf space to Black-owned brands, I guess we can too. You should have been doing it the whole time. And so it's just like this peer pressure.
Yeah.
Like, where was your backbone? Where were I mean, like Eric said earlier, you know, steeped in the courage of his convictions. these people clearly have not been. I don't have much patience at all, if you can tell or not, for the people that are having the late awakenings. Like, oh, I didn't know. I didn't realize it was that bad. What should I do? It's like, I'm not here to teach you. There is this crazy thing called Google, and it's on this other wild thing called the internet. And there are so many resources that for anyone who has yet to educate themselves up to this point, that is a deliberate choice that they've made on a daily basis. And I just, where's your empathy? Even if you live in a town where you've never met anybody Black, I mean, you have these views. What, like, do you think for yourself?
I mean,
I just can't with all this, like, now.
I know.
I mean, the emails get flooded in the text.
Oh yeah, you mean all the white friends checking in on you?
Please go ahead. I think I froze.
Yeah, you did, but that's okay. You mean the text of all the white friends checking in on you? Is that what you're talking? Because for real, my thing is, if you are a white person who was not already in conversation with me, then you really don't need to check on me. You know, like my white friends who I have actual friendships with, you know, they already know how I'm doing. Okay, so you know, I'm good. And you know, reparations. I will say this: a couple of white folks have sent me reparations. I had a good sushi meal. I had a damn good sushi meal from white friend of mine. That's what I'm talking about. If you're gonna check on me, send a check.
Yes, I have also gotten a couple of micro reparations from some well-meaning white women friends.
I'm good with that.
And yeah, Kevin and I talked about that too. Like, while I thought reparations should come in the form of a larger check from, you know, the government,
right?
Having friends actually send money, and you know, I go back and forth. They're very different, these two white women, and I know they meant well. And from the messages that were on Venmo and everything, I haven't responded in words. I think I sent some emoji. Like, it was like they were brown hands and the purple heart or something like that. Hours after it happened, but they sent them within hours of each other. The rabbit hole on the internet, I said, some secret white emails, who knows? But yeah, check on me if we are in relationship.
Yeah.
Don't check on me because I'm one of 4 Black people whose number you happen to have because we, you know, either did a show together or used to work together, or, you know, I used to date somebody that you know. Like, stop, because I see you. And I see that you want me to see you doing a good job. Well, and being a good person.
I mean, and that's it, because what's supposed to be the Black Lives Movement, what's supposed to be, or even if you take Black Lives, you know, matter out of it, you just say this is a moment for Black people, right? This is a moment to think about and to do some penance. In some ways, it feels like it's White Lives Matters moment. You know, in some ways it feels like, you know, how, I mean, you kind of saw it with the pandemic, when the pandemic started, right? Like the first commercials from the companies who were like, we care about you. You know what I mean? It's like, bitch, you just want to make sure we keep spending money there while we lock.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Stop acting like you care. And that's what a little bit like all of this feels like. It feels like, you know, white, you know, I'm going to go to the thing that we all have in common, theater. The white theater companies, it isn't, you know, the number of people who slapped up my Black face on the, you know, for the 90-second play of mine they did or whatever, or the whatever. It's like, that's great that you've done X, Y, and Z, but until you can slap up dozens of Black people whose work you've done, I mean, come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
You froze that time. You looked like you were in prayer, so I really liked it. And I was there for it. Yeah.
I'm so mad at this internet. I'm even in this room because I'm supposed to have the strongest connection here, despite having no air conditioning. So,
I mean, we all can't be like Kevin R. Free, who just, you know, he is so important that every internet company in Queens comes by and gives him a password.
The divine, inimitable, fantastic Kevin R. Free. I feel like we have to start winding down. I don't want to yet, but let me ask you, what is it like being in Louisville right now?
You know, I'm surprised there has not been a protest that's gone past my window as we've talked. It is, you know, I just came from Kansas City, Missouri area. That's where I'm from and where I grew up and where I've lived. I just started a new job here in Louisville a month ago. And in Kansas City, them mofos, I know their asses, you know, they got tired after 2 weeks. Okay. But in Louisville, they are relentless. Like Louisville, to me, you know, people can criticize this and that, but when we start talking about passion and consistency and commitment and how 47 days later, people are still nightly showing up. I mean, I was trying to get to bed early last night, and early for me is midnight. And I crawled into bed and all of a sudden I'm hearing synchronized honking. And then I go to the window and whose streets? Oh, streets. Whose streets? Oh, I'm like, these. And so on the one hand, there's this momentary like, God damn. And then quickly it was followed by, we should all consider this something that in our own ways, maybe it's not literally taken to the streets. I can't go to the streets because I'm a journalist, so I have to be nonpartisan. You know, but we all in our own ways should be as consistently passionate as the people in Louisville are about speaking up on Breonna Taylor, because it's not like no offense to the celebrities who are still cute with the Breonna Taylors. These folks are taking it to the streets literally. They are risking whatever happens daily, and it is something that is it's inspiring to see. If you a Black person who knows how easy it is for us to fold under the pressure, fold under the criticism, it's beautiful.
Thank you for all of those words. Thank you. Yeah, the people of Louisville, my God, it's been amazing to watch.
Yeah.
To see these images and these videos. I haven't been out in the streets in a while. I went to 5 protests, and then I had to re-quarantine because I was going to see my family, and I just got back this week and about to be running these streets again. But Louisville, Louisville. I want to come correct. I want to say it right.
Yeah.
Louisville.
Yeah.
This young woman. It infuriates me and breaks my heart. I mean, and this is. Yes, we do need to fight for our men, our Black men who are killed, our Black boys, but our Black girls, our Black women, our trans sisters and brothers.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I get it. You know, I think, you know, and I know you got to go because there's, you know, still more of a show to go, but I know.
We do what we want. Keep on.
That's right. We do what we want. You know, I know that for me, of all the people who have died that had a hashtag, Sandra Bland was mine. Middle-aged professional Black woman who was refusing to put out a damn cigarette only because a cop said something. I don't smoke, but the point is, I am Sandra Bland in the sense of my big mouth, former attorney, journalist, playwright, diversity trainer ass would have been in a motherfucking jail cell. Shit damn motherfucker. That's where I would have been, in a jail cell like Sandra Bland. And I think with my internet presence, with my Facebook presence alone, if I ended up dead, people would damn well know some shit happened to me. Because I'm too chicken to die in a day. I wouldn't give them the satisfaction to kill myself in a jail cell. And that's why I don't believe till the day I die. Till the day I die, I don't believe that anything happened that those folks did something to her. Because again, this is the world that we live in. And then all these brothers who were found hanging from trees. Come on now.
Seriously.
Come on now. I don't believe that. You know? No. I am not a believer in being a conspiracy theory. Half these things that people say about, you know, like what is it, the 5Gs is
A
responsible.
5G, yeah.
You know, I don't even know what the hell that is, but anyway, is responsible for, you know, COVID, whatever. But we do as Black people, and before you ask me, my joy,
yes,
is that we as a people, my joy is that as friends, we can stay connected. My joy is that even though I am alone and sometimes lonely in Louisville, Kentucky, I am never more than a text or a call or a Zoom or a Google Hangout from anybody I know and love. And that's no small thing in a world where people try to keep us unconnected.
Mm. Well said. Very well said. Thank you for answering that question. Before you go, the other part of the question, God help me. What are you done justifying?
My shy, quiet, retired. I am tired. I am tired of justifying being a opinionated woman, an intelligent, educated, opinionated woman who people are used to all of that when it is a white male. Okay, so when it is a white male of a certain age, of a certain physicality, you know, he can say boo and people are like, tell me more, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I can run down some shit from experience, from education, from knowledge. I got several initials after my name and in the middle of getting some more. Okay. But I'm tired of feeling like I have to fold myself up into a smaller, quieter version of myself to make the other people in the room feel more comfortable. Fuck that.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my gosh. I could not agree more. Michelle Tyreen Johnson, thank you so much. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for being here.
Oh my
and I
God.
think that me and Kevin should just we should just have a Zoom
I
sometime.
agree. I think the three of us should get together, minus Kevin. Yes.
The shade is real. The shade is real. I love that. Michelle, thank you so much. I love you.
I love you.
Be well.
And
Have a great.
Let's all hope for a vaccine really quickly so that we can hug.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Hug.
Yes. Thank you. Have a great rest of your night.
Love you. Bye.
Bye. Ah. All right, my friends. We have one last guest artist joining us. I said her name a little earlier, but let me again look to the words specifically. So Caitlin Wells is a Quaker, teacher, actor, and director from down south who's bounced around the world and landed here. I know Caitlin because she directed me and Jazz as well in a play last summer. And, it was one of those plays that brought a lot of, it was a group of 5 women in it. Woman director, we bonded hard. It was down and dirty and there was a lot, but it was great. And Caitlin and I have become friends. So Caitlin is going to join us now. There she. Oh, you get a costume change, right?
I tried to look nice for you.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I did put on mascara for y'all on the.
Oh yeah, no, you got eyeliner, like full eye.
Oh, okay. Yes, I can't wait to wash my face. But yes. So, Caitlin, is there anything that you would like to say before your piece? You, like Jazz, are going in live, and like Kevin as well. But is there anything that you want to preface, or should we just get it rolling?
Well, I feel like I don't even need to be here because you already said it all. But at the same time, I'm very excited to be on because then I get to put myself between you and the white latecomers. So I'll translate all this shit for them so that you don't have to.
See, that's what's up. Okay, go on in and talk to the white latecomers, indeed. And yes, friends, Caitlin is our last guest of the night. And yeah, I made this white woman wait. she would have been here anyway through all of the Black and Latinx performers. I'm sorry, I'm giggling.
No,
but yeah, because sometimes some white people, sometimes you have to learn how to be quiet and when to speak. And Caitlin, one thing I do appreciate about you, I know it's a learning curve for it, and it's doing it and it's not getting it right just one time, but you're the only white person I asked. Oh, should I have told you that later by text? My bad.
Okay.
I thought about 2 others, but I didn't ask them. So anyway, girl.
No, when you asked me to do this, I mean, I think I responded to you with a little text with a little like prayer hand emojis of like, I am so touched and so honored. I was like, yes, Kimberlee is asking me to show up as a white person and do something concrete. I mean, it was like getting a directive from God. I was like, ma'am, yes, ma'am. And then my second thought though was, I sat with it for a minute and I was like, oh shit, Kimberlee's asking me to show up as a white person and do something concrete. So what do I do? And I mean, it's a classic white person question, especially at this moment when it seems like white folks have finally caught a glimpse of the fuckery of the past 428 years. And I mean, I'm white. I'm like Cracker Barrel, the Andy Griffith Show. My first concert was George Jones at the New Bern High School football stadium. White. And Kimberlee asked me to contribute to this space that's by and for artists of color. And so we're living at this moment when one of the primary roles of white people is to shut the fuck up and listen. And Kimberlee's asked me on here to talk and take up space. And so I just fell into this anxiety spiral of questions. My first one being, okay, Kimberlee, how can I help? And I was like, oh no, as a white savior. Okay, what can I do? But that felt like some sort of fake helplessness. Like I couldn't figure out for myself how to show up here today. So then I was like, all right, I'm going to step outside. I'm just going to get out of the way and center the work of a current artist of color. But that also felt like it was passing the buck and then putting it on people of color to fix what my people broke. And when I say my people, I literally mean my people. Like we got the family photo of great-great-granddaddy so-and-so in his Confederate uniform back home. No. So then I was like, no, definitely can't do that. Okay, so I'm going to explain my understanding of the work and what needs to happen. But that felt like I was just out to prove myself and earn some sort of anti-racist golden ticket. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to talk about the work that I do and I have been doing. And that just turned into some sort of social justice Olympics where I'm competing for the cookie. It was like the epitome of self-aggrandizing. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to list out my awareness of all the injustices that Black, Indigenous, and people of color have been dealing with in this country for centuries. That's trauma porn. But then I was like, no, but I'm going to do it in a way that is genuine and emotional so you can see it really impacts me. That's some self-indulgent white tears. So scratch that. Let's get back to basics. I'm going to ask, what do you need? But that would feel like putting it on you, Kimberlee, to give me some sort of assignment. Like I can't do the work myself. But if I take action, I go ahead and do something, I'm being presumptive. And honestly, even the very act of spending all this out right now for you is a double whammy of centering my own discomfort and patting myself on the back at the same time. And ultimately, all of this is literally performative. So what I realized through this mental tornado is, number one, I'm obsessed with getting anti-racism right. Number two, that's impossible. And number three, I'm one self-centered SOB. But that's the nature of perfectionism. It's all about me, right? And that is an incredibly dangerous way to move through the world. We need to be exorcising our inherited demons as a country. And so trying to get it right just makes us bury those demons even deeper. There's no honesty there. There's no vulnerability. There's no selflessness. So there's no connection. I want so badly to be seen as good. So I just bury the polluted, contaminated parts of myself. But here's the thing, an exorcism, as far as I can tell, exorcisms aren't clean. They are wet and slippery and bloody and smelly and utterly terrifying. But that's the way you get clean, right? And isn't that the goal? For us to finally clear this shit out of our system? We gotta face our demons if we want to get our lives back. And perfect is not gonna help me get there. Perfect just keeps me wrapped up in myself and separated from others. Perfect keeps me running around doing everything I possibly can to hide my own failings. And honestly, it's hard not to see this as an intentional function of the system. Perfection is going to get in the way time and time again of our banding together to fight this shit. A people divided will always be defeated. We're set up to fail. That's the whole point. Like, welcome to humanity. We live in a world where everyone who is not straight, able-bodied, cisgender, rich, Christian, white, male, on the slender side and preferably attractive, to boot, is set up to fail. And even then, if by some mayo-based Minnesota Vikings miracle whip, do you happen to fit that character description? You're still screwed, because masculinity is a trap. So we silence ourselves and we do nothing, because being right is more important than being good. So, return to the question, what do? I focus on the I, not in terms of making it all about me, because it most certainly is not, but I can only speak from my perspective. And ideally, we're all doing this in conversation with one another, like a diamond, right? I'm getting a little cheesy. You see the whole diamond through all the individual facets kind of sparkling together. And another thing I can do is my darndest to be brutally honest with myself and with other white folks and really interrogate my motivations, my actions, my reactions, because a lot of the time they tend to be pretty self-serving. I mean, selfishness, it makes sense in a world of scarcity where there's this fake understanding that there's not enough of anything to go around. So I got to get mine while the getting's good. But that's not real. Like, we have the capacity to feed everyone on this planet. We are right now printing fake money for big business like there's no tomorrow. But more importantly, there's also not a limited amount of love that I can give or effort I can make. If anything, the heart, it's a muscle. So the more it stretches, the stronger it gets, the more it can hold. And I have to really question the way that scarcity gets into my body, my brain, and my spirit, and push back against those artificial assumptions, a lot of which are born out of fear. And the way that I try and do this is to embody this wisdom that Audre Lorde was generous enough to share with us, to just tune in so deep to my body, my emotions, and my intuition. Because we have been taught to believe that our only real values from here up, right? The head, the brain, the logic. Our body is just an object. You know, it's not a source of power. But no, when we go up here, when we intellectualize, that's a great way to distance ourselves while still getting that pat on the back for being a smarty pants. And Audre Lorde pushed back with this lifting up of bodily sensations, the feelings, the gut. Those are the signposts. Those are the guides of where we need to be headed and the warnings along the way. So if my body and my feels are not aligned with where I'm at and how I'm showing up, then I have to shut the fuck up and sit still until it lands. And it will come. Stillness makes space for the messages that I need to hear. That's what Quakerism's all about. And if I can get present in and with myself, I'll know what I got to do and how I got to do it. But I also have to show the fuck up again and again and again and again through shame and embarrassment and not knowing, because we have to be in this for the long haul. However, I can only show up where I'm actively invited in, because there is such a thing as invading someone else's space. But the good thing is that these open conversations can make these differences so much less scary. Like, we are used to being relatively isolated in our little safe boxes of sameness, but difference is a hell of a lot more fun, right? Like, and ultimately it makes us stronger and healthier. There is a reason purebred dogs are riddled with disease and can't breathe or even bone, okay? We have to also redefine this collective to be inclusive, truly grounded in inclusivity of those differences, rather than defining who's in by who's out. And really, I have to practice what I preach. A lot of talking, but I have to hold myself accountable. My little sister used to always say, actions, not words. Because without action, words are nothing but air and spit just moving around in somebody else's mouth. And I have to be generous with myself, which is easier said than done, with my fellow white folks as we scrape out our insides that have been contaminated by hundreds of years of pollution, and with my loved ones of color as they take care of themselves, as they bolster their own resilience in the face of this shit. And especially when they don't want to talk about race with me for the umpteenth time just because slave play. And also, I cannot make the needs of my friends of color, whatever they are, whether it's a need for space, peace of mind, whatever the fuck they damn well please, I cannot make their needs a referendum on my need for approval. So I have to accept that failure is the name of the game, not in the long run, but in the day-to-day. Because being truly good, doing the right thing, means there's a chance that I'm gonna mess up. Because it requires actions and words, which are gonna expose my own internalized bullshit. There's this quote, don't let perfect be the enemy of the good. And I think it's really spot on for this, because there's this sinister idea of perfection that keeps us so occupied in our own little individual hamster wheels that we lose sight of the real goal, which is to be good to you because I care about you as a friend, as a collaborator, as an all-around badass human being I am lucky to have in my life. And I want you to be good, and I want us to be good together. But I gotta say, I mean, there is a part of me that wants to end with a very tongue-in-cheek, but also sincere question of, but did I do a good job? But you don't have to answer it, it's fine. Sitting in the not knowing.
Sitting in the not knowing. There you go. Thank you, Caitlin. So
Thank you.
when, because you did share a lot of what you were going to say, but you sent it to me written, and then I just got to watch and hear you say it. One thing that I don't know if it occurred to me in this way before today was that what if one of the things about whiteness, and I mean whiteness as the concept and the structure that's being upheld, not individual people, what if it is rooted in scarcity mentality?
No, that's exactly what it is.
The point was that no, nobody else, no, we have to keep this because and it's like, oh my gosh, how sad.
Right?
Sad and pitiful that something that like is so sad and small could wreak this much havoc and damage and death and destruction and poison all over the world.
But isn't that always the way? When we are afraid, we do really fucked up shit.
Mm-hmm.
Not to justify it, but man, oh man. And instead of sitting in that stillness or even opening up to the truth of abundance, you just keep building those fucking walls and putting everybody else down.
Mm-hmm. Good grief. Yeah. People, I need you to talk to your racist parents and uncles and aunts and cousins and siblings and grandparents, and I don't want to hear this nonsense about it. It'll all go away when they die because, look, I've met young racists. The first time I was called a nigger was by a kid that was younger than 8 years old. He heard it from somewhere. So, like, people, get your people. That's just something I say to folks nowadays. And Caitlin, I know. Well, I've also met your people. I've met some of your people. No, I mean, not the great granddaddy, but I've met your parents. And they were lovely. But indeed. So yes, thank you. I have 3 questions that I'm going to ask you before we sign off. Because, ooh, child, it's 9:29. Whatever, we do what we want. What are you done justifying?
Oof. I had to journal this one out. Quarantine, I think, has been really, really good at teaching me in a brutal way how to learn the lesson of no longer justifying my own boundaries. And that has been a long dang lesson to learn. Like, that's actually what these tattoos are about. Those tattoos are like 5 years old. Like, oh goodness, she will never learn. Every time she thinks she'll learn, she doesn't.
Hey, we learn as we go. We got to keep going.
Yeah.
What is bringing you joy or peace?
Plants, so many plants. I don't know if you can see right now, but like we have a lemon tree and ferns and hibiscus and an army of aloe plants. If anyone wants aloe, please God come and take it.
I still have my little tiny aloe from last year. I mean, she's hanging in there. She's not thriving though, but she's still alive. She ain't dead yet.
Some friends. Maybe she's just lonely.
Yeah, we might have to arrange a meetup, a masked meetup, so this girl can have some sisters or something. Now, Caitlin, one other question before you go to participate in the show.
So to participate in the show, I was paid $0.
Thank you. Caitlin, I appreciate you. I love you. Have a good rest of your evening. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye, darling.
I have a feeling that I may have frozen again, but the good news is, whether I froze or not, I am back and we are almost done. Friends, not to get too crunchy or spiritual on you, but really, it's confirmation rather than coincidence. So one thing I want to leave you with that I found very healing, I got to participate in an affinity space for Black women last night, and this is one of the last things that someone said. I am free to release all energy from myself and others that no longer serves me. I am doing this for my highest good. I am free to release all energy from myself and others that no longer serves me. I am doing this for my highest good. Think about what you're done justifying. Think about what you need to move through. Now, my dears, before we go, I got to say thank you to some very, very special people. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Morgan. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Erez. Thank you, Jazz. Thank you, Janine. Thank you, Ebony. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Kevin again. Thank you, Caitlin. Like all of y'all. Let me just double check. No, okay, I said all of your names. You all are amazing, amazing people. Now, to the audience at home across the interwebs, remember, you can help to support the Reparations Show and ensure that it continues. There it is, that beautiful banner. So you can donate on Venmo at FRIGID New York, and just make sure that reparations is in the title, the subject, the comments. Now, my dears, we're doing this again next week, and you do not want to miss next week's host, Tracy Conyer-Lee. Be sure to tune in again next Friday, July. I don't know. I'm not good at math. Just add 7 to 17. What is it? Okay, the 24th? Yes, it's the 24th for Tracy Conyer-Lee and all of her guest artists. Thank you all. I wish you generational health as well as generational wealth. I wish you a good night's sleep, and keep fighting for our people. Keep doing the work. Keep showing up. You're going to mess up. That's part of living. Thank you. Good night. God bless. Mwah.